All right. Afternoon, morning, depends on where you are at in the country, but I'm glad to be here with you today. It's Coach Manny, and this is our weekly hangout, and we're fired up as always, and we have a great guest with us today. So I'm excited to have you here. We're here every Friday from noon to 12:30 Eastern Time. If you missed any of us, you can always pick us up on the recording. Just check out our website or our YouTube channel. So we got a lot of good stuff coming up. Just let me start with just reminding you the boot camp is coming up on the 16th. So don't forget to get registered. If you're not signed up yet, we'll show you some more of that as we move along. Today, I have a really great privilege because I have a great guest with us today. And we are talking about that big tool called networking today. And I have Eleanor Tobneri with us. And Eleanor, you want to just say hello?
Hello, everybody. I'm delighted to be with you and to be with you, Manny.
Okay, great. Well, it's great to have you here. So I know we're all excited about having this interview go on. So why don't we start? Okay, we're good. Let's start basically by you giving us a little synopsis of who you are, what you do, and this is your commercial time to let everybody know who you are, in case there's actually some people out there who don't know you, which probably isn't the case.
Imagine that. So I'm Eleanor Tobneri, and my company is Business Excellence. It's a business consulting and corporate training company, and I'm delighted to spend time with you today to share some of my knowledge that I've had. I do corporate training and lunch and learns. I go out to companies and do training, as well as consult small to medium-sized companies to help them accelerate their sales. It's my job that my clients make more money. That's the goal.
All right. And so you want to tell us a little bit of how you got here?
Oh my gosh, that's a long story.
All right, just the abbreviated version.
Yeah, the abbreviated version. I've done training on and off since 1984. I've been in supervisory and leadership roles most of my career. I've been self-employed, oh my gosh, 25, 30 years, I don't remember, a long time. Since 1985, 86, I don't remember, a long time. And I've been privileged to work with some very good companies and very good people, and I've learned a great deal. And I love sharing that information and helping other people do well.
Right. Because, we always like to bring people on who really have been there and done it. And, Eleanor is a great example of somebody who has been down that entrepreneur road, been that self-employed person, and can share with you some of the joys and some of the pains, I think, that we always find along that road. So let's get started. So today you run this thing called Business Excellence, which has kind of become your brand, right?
Yes.
And networking is one of the key things that you talk about. And actually, for those who missed Eleanor, she did speak at our last boot camp. It was a great event, and if you had a chance to see her there, we got some great feedback. Everybody was happy. Her and I got to do some networking stuff together. So this gives us another chance to catch people up, especially those who weren't there. So let's talk about networking because, I believe networking is like one of those things that if you don't do anything else, you got to be able to network, and you can make your business grow. But if without networking, I'm not sure it works. So tell me why you think networking is essential to the business owner out there, just like you and I.
Manny, I'm really passionate about this. I think this is critical, essential. You have to do this, and you have to be good at it. There's no sense in showing up unless you're good. Every business person, no matter what they do or what field they're in, needs to network. And it will help them grow themselves and help their businesses grow in volume. And it's a part of every day, like brushing your teeth. And if you don't do it, you've got a problem. I think it's the same thing with networking. It's critical in every business.
Yeah, and so I get some people that always talk about, do I really need to do that? And I always say, I always like to ask, what happens? And I'll ask you this question: what happens if I don't network? I don't want to network. I don't do any networking. What happens then?
Well, it's kind of like if I don't market my company, I don't advertise, what happens? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I mean, if you want something to happen, you need to make it happen. So if you want to increase your circle of influence and the people that you do business with and build your reputation, you've got to do this. I think the people that say that are the people that don't like it or they're not comfortable doing it, so they shy away from it. But if you just get your skills in place and you practice and you work at this, you'll be better at it, you'll be good at it, and frankly, you can enjoy it. And then when you see that it brings business and it helps you overall, you'll be talking the way you and I do about it and saying, this is awesome, you've got to do it. And I do truly enjoy it. I enjoy it, and I think it's very good for me. It's been always been very good for me in my business.
And you can always tell that, can you, when you walk into a network event, the people that are smiling are having a good time, and
Yeah.
the people that aren't are like, what am I doing here?
They're looking at their cell phones and they're hiding in a corner somewhere.
Yeah.
And I will go and get them and bring them out.
Yeah, you do that very well. I will tell you so. And people like Eleanor will pull you out. If you're one of those shy people that goes to one of her events, she will definitely make sure you come out and meet some people. And that's what you should be doing if you're really good at networking, you should be doing that, right?
It's a life skill. It's not just for business, it's for everything in your life. It's like going to a party and sitting in a corner or not engaging with anyone. I mean, if you network, you do that everywhere. You do that with your friends, your family, business, and you just become part of whatever it is instead of standing on the sideline. Um, there are some really great reasons why we do this. Can I share some of those with you?
It's your time. You can
Okay.
share whatever you'd like with us today.
So you want to build your circle, right? And this is people that you can be in contact with. You want to build strategic partnerships with people, build relationships with people. So you have a contact, you're building a relationship, and that relationship will lead to others or lead to business. Uh, you want to build your reputation. I mean, without our reputation, what do we have? So everywhere we go, the way we present ourselves, we're building our reputation, while at the same time building that circle. We also want to expand our knowledge. And when we meet and greet and we're in circles of people, we're expanding our knowledge all the time. If you're paying attention and you're listening and you're engaging, you should be expanding your knowledge. Something that you think is critical and you talk about all the time, and I totally agree, you've got to fill the sales funnel. I mean, if you're staying in your office and you're hiding out, that's not going to happen. They're not going to come knocking on your door. So this is a way to always be filling that up. Don't you agree?
Now I can just hang out and email all the time. I don't really need to do that.
I don't know if I'm buying that. And of course, you want to attract clients. You want to attract clients. You go to a networking event, whether it's a morning or breakfast, chamber of commerce or business association, and there are people in the room that you can do business with. They were not aware of you, not aware of your company or what you did, and suddenly they're attracted. They're attracted to what you do or how you present yourself. And now this something very good could come of that. And the bottom line, we all want to grow. We want to grow our businesses and keep moving forward. Because we know what happens if you're not moving forward, right, Manny?
Yep, you're moving backwards.
You're moving
Nobody
backwards.
can stay where they're
Yeah.
at.
So this is just a few of the important reasons I think that we need to network and why people are doing it.
Yeah, and I think those are some great points because people today have this shyness, and they're just. I often say, maybe it's not just today. Maybe we've always had it. I often say, if I knew what I know now, I would have been dangerous in high school, because you learn that everybody in an event is the same, and you can hang out and you can talk to people, and people are open to talk with you. The only people that aren't as open to talk to you are probably people who are shy. Because one thing I've always noticed, that the people who are the most successful are always so open to discuss and talk with you.
Yeah.
You notice
Many,
that?
there are statistics out there that will say 82% of people are not truly comfortable with networking. But 90% of people think this is really important to their business. The other 10% just say, no, it's not important, I'm not going to do it. But most people are not comfortable in a room full of strangers, or even just a large group of people. They're not comfortable. But you can get better at this, just like riding a bike and everything else that we do. I think my notes say that the average time spent per week, 45 minutes, 6 hours and 45 minutes spent networking. That's a lot of time. And for some businesses, that would be too much. For mine and yours, maybe that's appropriate. It depends on what you do. So if you're going to spend that much time, you should be effective. And to be effective, you have to get the skills. You have to learn the skills. You have to practice. You have to follow the movers and shakers, pick up a few tips, take a page out of their book, and just keep working this until you're very good at it. The better you are, of course, the more comfortable you are. And then people will be following you around because they think you're so wonderful at what you're doing.
Absolutely true. And you can tell when you've got to that point when you walk into an event and people know who you are.
Yeah.
Even though I like to walk into events where nobody knows who I am.
Well, that is better because then we're meeting new people and not just people we've already connected with. It's nice to see your old friends and people you're familiar with. And of course, it's easier, but that's not the goal. The goal is to always be meeting new people.
There we go. So on that same plateau, let's talk about where people can network. I mean, because one of the questions I get, and I was actually working on a book at one point, trying to help people, and I've talked about this. So where do people network?
Well, I want to say everywhere, because you can network in a coffee shop, for goodness sakes. If you put yourself out there and you happen to be at a business meeting and you got there early or you stayed afterwards, you can network there. But there are so many organizations that have set this up for us. Business associations, Rotaries, chambers of commerce, local women's groups, men's groups. There's so many people that are meeting on a regular basis. I mean, 2 minutes in Google and you're going to come up with 100 different areas that you can be going to do your networking. You've got to choose where your people are and where you think that your target market is. You find that place and you start going there and make it your own. And I would suggest a few different places. You can't be doing the same thing over and over. You've got to have a nice mix. Did I miss any?
No, I think that's I think there's no place you can't network. I always tell people that if you're going anywhere, even if you're going to family events, even if you're going to the grocery store, I can network because anytime I'm in a line,
you're talking.
Practice, learn how to say hello to people.
Yeah.
Hi, people are anxious to talk to you if you open the door. Once you open the door, the conversation flows. And I tell people you always got to have questions, right? I mean, don't you agree that you always
have important to take the lead, as you said, to take the lead, open the door, and then it's amazing what happens when you do that.
Yeah, people love to talk, and people love to talk about themselves. We all know that. So, all right. So you've convinced me I'm gonna go network. So now, how do I prepare for that?
Well, I think preparation is critical. You cannot just fly in the door by the seat of your pants, late with your hair on fire. You need to know where you're going. Make sure you know exactly where it is and what room it's going to be in, and that you're on time. And frankly, I would suggest that you're there early so you can greet everybody as they come in, and you can decide who it is you want to talk with. And you can pretend to be the host of the party or the gathering, and just get involved right from the start. And make sure you have business cards, and you have plenty. It's such a basic thing, but I'm telling you, I meet people all the time and say, oh, I didn't bring any cards. This is incredible to me. You came to a networking event, and I scold them. I say, you came to a networking event and you don't have business cards. They're not wearing a name tag, or the name tag they have is tattered and torn and not in good condition. They're not ready to have conversation. They have not prepared themselves well for that particular group or the types of people that are going to be there. Their elevator pitch is just too canned, and they try to use that on everybody, and it needs to sound conversational. I think elevator pitch is when you stand up and introduce yourself to the room. The conversational pitch is very different. That's got to sound like you're talking and you're not a recording. And you need to interact back and forth and turn this into conversation so people are listening to you and not looking over your shoulder waiting for you to stop talking. So
Excellent.
preparation is critical. And you've got to look great. You've got to look great and smell great and feel very good about what you're doing. Don't drag yourself in there. If you don't feel like you can do it, stay home. If you're not up for it, don't go, because you're going to make an impression, and the impression has to be good.
Wow, what a great point, because you know that first impression thing, you're at this networking event and guess who shows up? Somebody you've been trying to connect with for 2 years.
Yeah.
And you're there and you haven't prepared, or you're there and you haven't. Now, granted, sometimes you may be in a profession where you're networking at lunch and you come in, and you may be in a profession where you're not dressed professionally because maybe you're working on a craft, maybe you're in home construction, whatever. That's okay. But if you oh, you look like you might want to argue that one with me. That's great.
Well, if I'm an arborist and I wear a uniform, I think it's okay for me to come in that uniform. But if I've just come from the gym, it's not okay for me to show up in my gym clothes or in my grocery store clothes. I mean, you need to look like a professional. So dress for your business and what's appropriate for your business. I like to say dress for the audience. So if you know this is going to be a fair filled with bankers, you want to dress for the audience. You want to blend in. You want to be part of it. And you don't want people looking at you thinking, what in the world is that person wearing? Why are they dressed that way? Unless it's a uniform or it's part of what you do. So I have a little issue with showing up the way you are. Just the way you are is, I don't think, not good enough, because in our society, how you look matters a great deal.
And
People
Eleanor,
will judge you.
And you always look great at networking events.
Thank you. We're judged.
We are judged. There's no doubt about that. And I want to go back to your name tag thing, because you're a big proponent of this, and I'm a big violator. So
yes, you are.
Because I come from the school that I don't wear a name tag, but I've learned. So I'm actually getting my own name tag, which I may even wear on this broadcast someday.
Oh my goodness.
But you believe that's really important, that you have a custom name tag, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's part of your brand, right? So you can get a name tag made by your local printer or online for $10. It's got your name, company name, your logo, your color. It's part of your brand. It's like your business card. It's just another extension.
All right. Good. Let's keep going here. And let's talk a minute about that elevator pitch. How important is that?
Very important. You get your opportunity to get in front of someone. You want to make sure you know what you're going to say. You're going to ask them, of course, about themselves and their business, and then you've got to be prepared to tell them what you do and a little bit about your business and yourself without, again, sounding like it's a speech. You don't want to talk too long. You want to get right to it. Look, there's 100 things you can say about your business. You can only say 3 or 4, maybe 5. Depends on the length of the engagement, and you've got to decide what's the most important, or what's the most important thing you want to tell that person. So yesterday, this is true, I was at a luncheon, and a gentleman I've been wanting to talk to for a while was there, and he was in a rush, and we didn't have a lot of time to talk, so I had to get right to it. I had to get right to the point that I wanted to make and why he and I should be talking. So you need to be mindful of that. And so what you want to say is not always going to be exactly the same. Depends on who you're saying it to, how much time you have, and what are the key points you want to make that day to that person.
So you got to practice.
Practice. Yes.
I'm a big proponent of that. And I think people walk in and you can always tell if they have never worked on their elevator speech. They're just like, or you can tell the person who's memorized something off a card, and when you ask them, they're like A, B, C, D. So we got to be somewhere between memorization and not practicing.
Yes.
Right?
You want to make conversation, and you want to tell your story, not your life story, a short version of your business story. Hopefully, if you impress this person enough, you're going to have another opportunity to meet with them, one-on-one for coffee or at their office. So you're making an impression. You're not telling them everything there is to know about you.
Okay, good. And we've talked about appearance, and you've really stressed the importance of appearance. Um, Now, okay, so I went to the event. It's done. What now? Can I go home now and forget it?
No way. It would be a waste of time then. What I like to do is while I'm at the event, I'm collecting business cards and having conversation. And let's say I pick up 10 or 15 cards. There's 3 or 4 that are special to me. I just bend over an edge on the card and I put that in my pocket. So then when I get out to my car, I might write some notes on those cards. Or I'll get my voice recorder and say, follow up with this guy. I told him I'd send him this information. And then when I get back to my desk, the ones that are really critical, I would like to write them an email, send them an email within 24 hours, 2 days at the most. And then all of the cards you've collected, you should put in your database. You should file them where they belong, like industry or whatever it is your system is. I think something else that is effective, when you're able, you should rate the cards A, B, and C, level of importance. So if you get in your car while it's fresh in your mind, just put a little A, B, or C on the cards. So when you get back to your desk, you know how to sort them. But A's, you know, you've got to be in touch with, and you have to stay in touch with. So everybody has a different system, but you need to have a system. You can't just get back to your desk, dump the cards, and leave them there until there's hundreds of them. That is just ridiculous, and it's all been a waste of your time and energy.
Yeah, and if you want to see that, just grab a copy of my book. My sales follow-up sucks. We put a picture on the front of a stack of cards because I too have walked into so many people's offices where all they do is pile up the cards they collect.
Yeah, there's no point to that. You have to make this work for you. So you went for a reason to meet people. You've met people that you think are important, and you've got to connect with those people. You should decide who you want to connect with on LinkedIn. Invite them. You should connect with them on Facebook. You have to find ways, depending on what the situation is, to connect with those people and to be in touch with them. Add them to your newsletter if you have a newsletter. Send them a blast every now and then. Include them in what you're doing, if you think it's appropriate and if you think they want to hear from you.
I think there's some great points there. First, I just want to go back. 10 or 15 cards might scare some people, but that's probably a good day's work. And I think you should be able to get that many. Rating those cards, because I think what happens so many times, and I think you have a great system there, A, B, or C, is people only worry about the A's, and the rest of the cards get thrown off into some corner. But you just said you need to take care of all of them, right?
All of them, yes. Attend to the A's right away. Decide what you want to do with the B's and C's, and find a system that works for you. But don't let any of them just fall away. And if it's someone you know you can never do business with, they don't want to buy your product or service, perhaps you can give them business. Because if you refer business to them, they will remember that. They will be grateful. Perhaps they'll refer business to you. So really, everybody you meet, there's something that could happen.
Yeah, and I hope the audience out there got that point, because it's one that I like to stress as well as Eleanor, that it's not just the people that you meet, right? It's all the people they know, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that the criticalness?
Yes, if someone says to you, oh, it's been very nice meeting you, but I'm sure I can never do business with you based on what I do for a living, you say, I understand. I'm glad we met, but I know that you know people that might want to meet me or might be able to use my service. So you can, talk to them that way. It's not just a done deal. There's always some way to connect. Maybe they belong to a group and they would invite you as an attendee. There's always something, so don't just close the door. Review what the circumstances are and decide if there's anything the two of you can do together.
Okay. I have so many more questions and so little time left. But I wanted to ask you a measurement question, because I'm a big metrics guy, and I like to make sure that whatever we do has some payoff. So how do I measure my success in networking? Do you have something you want to share with us there?
Well, I think, again, I'm a very organized person. I think you need systems. So if you are doing business with this company now and you met them 6 months ago and you met them at a networking event, you can kind of keep track of this, just like you do your sales. You can keep track, you can measure which groups have been the most effective for you, which time of day is best for you. Um, you can decide on lots of levels whether this was good or bad and how you can use this going forward. But you can keep track of what's happening.
All right, that's a great tip. So we're going to have to close out here pretty soon. So let me do a couple of housekeeping things, and then we'll come back and let Eleanor share a couple more things with us. From the housekeeping, I just want to make sure everyone is aware of our upcoming event. So let me put that up here for just a minute. There we go. Do not forget that we have this great boot camp coming up on March 16th. Unfortunately, Eleanor's not going to be able to join us this time, but maybe next time.
I hope so.
So there's the contact. You can always go to the website. We have some excellent speakers that we have set up. We got a 1 day. We've tuned the whole event down to 1 day. If you're looking to take your sales program to the next level, and networking is a big part of this event. So please come join us on the 16th. Sign up today. And the whole event is only $97. So please join us, and you can get some more information out there. And let me put up another slide here because I want to make sure while Eleanor talks to us that her contact data is also available. And let me shake that up there. So Eleanor, tell us a little bit about how people can connect with you, and tell us a little bit about what you have coming up, because I know you have some great stuff coming up. Now, we're going to do some stuff together moving forward, but you also have some other stuff. So share with us what you have coming up.
Well, ironically, Manny, when you and I set this up to do the webinar, we chose this topic, and just by coincidence, my next Lunch and Learn is all about networking.
There we go.
Networking 101 and beyond, and it truly is a coincidence. I've done this session before. It's 2 hours long. It's rich. It's full of great content. And as I said, I'm passionate about this, and you can walk away with a lot. We're going to practice elevator pitches. We're going to go through probably 50 or 60 slides talking about the whole networking experience. And this is usually a very good class, very enjoyable, and people get engaged. So that's on the 28th of March. It's taking place in Mount Laurel at the Atrium. You can find that on my website, businessexcellence.com, or on Eventbrite. And on the 29th, the same seminar will take place, another Lunch and Learn in Gloucester County at an office called Incutate. Again, you can see that on the website or on Eventbrite. And then on the 12th of April, I'm doing an after-hours networking event, so you can practice your skills. There'll be about 100 people in there. It's after hours. We're going to have wine and some light hors d'oeuvres. There'll be some vendor tables there and lots of people to mix, mingle, interact, and hopefully do business with. And then Manny and I have a seminar, a Lunch and Learn, on the 25th of April called Double Your Sales. That's going to take place probably in Mount Laurel. The location is being worked out. And then we're going to repeat that same Lunch and Learn the next day in Gloucester County for folks from that area. And that will also be at Incutate. And I'm just going to say one more because the list goes on, but there's one more for you ladies out there. Sorry, fellas. On the 6th of May, I have a women's power luncheon, 75 women having lunch, networking, learning, growing. Deb DiLorenzo, who's the president of the Chamber of Commerce of Southern New Jersey, will be our guest speaker. And it's a fabulous event. It takes place twice a year. So I'd love to see the ladies there.
Yeah, that's wonderful. We were talking about that yesterday. Why can't we come? But we can't.
You got to wear a dress.
No, I don't want to come that bad, but maybe I should. So there you saw her Eleanor's contact data, website, email, phone number. Get a hold of her. She's been a great guest today. We will do a follow-up. And, of course, if you missed this, you may be watching it on a recording. So that's a wonderful thing. You can still see all that contact data. Eleanor, thank you very much for joining us today. It's exciting. Hopefully come back in the future and join us again.
Yes, and I hope to see you on the 28th at the networking thing. You can help me out.
Oh, yes. That's the next event, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
March
Any concluding words you want to leave our audience with?
Don't be afraid. Get out there. Do it well. Keep increasing your skills and upping the game, and it will help you in your business for sure, and certainly help you in your life as well.
All right. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us today. And we're here every Friday at noon Eastern time. If you miss us, catch us on our YouTube channel or just go to the website. All the information's out there. It was great. We learned a great deal today. I'm always here to try to bring you more of the right people to connect with. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you again next week.